Here we go. Eddie, we back in the building, man. We had taken some time off. It was no news cycle, and we didn't want to be like ESPN and get laid off. So we just took some time off, so they could stop our paychecks. But we got to get paid. So we back, man. Welcome back to the podcast, Victory Formation.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It's good to be back. It's good to see everyone's smiling faces. I missed you, bro. I missed you. I missed talking about Cowboys and some football. It's been. We got a little bit of reprieve with some World Cup action. We had some NBA finals. Man. We had some vacations. We had some family time. But I mean, nothing's better than getting back to the grind and getting ready for some Cowboy football, right?
We back at it next week. We back at it. Like there'll be players on the field doing stuff. I've seen a few Twitter accounts using already trying to do rage bait, using old footage from last year. Like say somebody had a number Pickens has 3 and Brandon Cooks used to have 3. So somebody pulled up Brandon Cooks footage and like, look, Pickens already abusing Durant Bland, and some people were already commenting like, man, this is like it was real. And I'm like, come on, Pickens is like 6'4". Cooks is like 5'7". And so I'm like, when they already doing dumb stuff like that, so I was like, yes.
I saw that. Real football. They were like, look at Dak throwing interceptions already. I was like, dude, this is like 2 years ago. And he's throwing to Amari like 4 years ago, and you're pulling that up. But even like Machado, like every day he's posting live videos of last year's camp, putting like every day is closer to camp. But it makes it look like these are live pictures from camp. I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah. So, but we're the good part. No more made up stories. No more is Dak haircut making them look 50 years old or whatever they decide to make up that day so they can get clicks and views. It's going to be some real analysis, real football. So how does the calendar look?
How many? One more. How many times did you see those pictures, or how many times did somebody send it to you? Because I know they did in the Discord of Dak, like 285-pound Dak.
Oh yeah, man, looked like he was like The Rock.
Tyson's. Come on, bro! You can't even see that it's AI in the corner there, and they're like, "Oh, bro, I don't know," but Dak's been working out. He's got that. They're talking about how it was like the breakup, the divorce, or whatever.
Oh yeah.
No, bro, he's not working out that much.
I'm outside now. But anyway, I'm like, man, if you fall for that, you deserve to be got.
Exactly. But
so what are we looking at next week? When can we expect some real stuff?
Oh, man, I guess the travel days they will be arriving in Oxnard on the 27th. So the open practice or first practice is on the 29th. That's on Wednesday. So, and I think the practices are early in the afternoon, so we should be able to maybe have a little bit of
let me pull it up. I forgot. We have the technology. There
we go. So we see on the 29th is the open practice on Wednesday. I don't see if it tells us what time. No, it doesn't. But hopefully we'll be able to record something after.
We can
talk a little bit about it.
Right here. I got you.
Beautiful. All right, so we'll be able to have a little bit of info on that, and then that camp's going to last throughout. If we can bring that the calendar back up for a second, we'll be in Oxnard until the 18th of August, and as you can see, there's many open practices for the public. We do play 2 preseason games while we're still there. We'll play. We'll play 1 game, and then we'll play the second game right after. Is that right?
Now we will.
Yeah,
when we go back. No, you're
Cardinals.
right. You're right. Yeah, because we come home on the 18th. Yeah, so the Cardinals.
That's what it is. So when we come home on the 18th, we actually scrimmage the Saints at. I don't know if we're scrimmaging them there, and then we're flying home after, which makes more sense to me now.
I gotta believe they're I gotta believe they do that.
Yeah, because that makes a lot more sense. But it is kind of weird though, and you pointed that out that we scrimmage against them on the 18th. We play the Cardinals a couple days later, and then we go right back, and the Saints fly to Dallas and play us the following week. Kind of weird.
Yeah, that's crazy. And so we got a little schedule quirk where we play the Seahawks and the Cardinals in preseason. Then we turn around and play both the Seahawks and the Cardinals again in the regular season. The Cardinals is a split. We go there for preseason and we play them at home. But the Seahawks, we play both games in Seattle. I guess that's one of the perks of winning a Super Bowl. You get to do whatever you want.
Well, I'm going to be perfectly honest. When the Cowboys come play here in AZ, they're coming to home as well. There's that many fans here in AZ as well. So
it is.
It is a home game for us here.
But you know what I remember? For some reason, we just can't beat the Cardinals, no matter who their terrible quarterback is. I remember when we lost to Joshua Dobbs, and then we lost to whoever their quarterback is now. Not Kyler Murray, or somebody else we lost to.
Brissett. I'm not even going to talk
Brissett.
about. I'm not even going to talk about that one game, but because that player did pass away. What was it? Their receiver that was like a running back that one game. He recently
that's right.
Passed away last year, but he had a heck of a game. That was a coming out game for him against Cowboys.
Killed us. Anyway,
shit.
But yeah, so this is what we got for the next month coming up. So let's clean up and make sure we're good for the next week. So Santa will bring us no injuries in practice, no season-ending injuries. We'll have in preseason. People always like to say, "Oh, we lost 20-7 to the Seahawks," when it does not matter at all. So just to give people understanding, in preseason, all we want to make sure is that we look like we're a competent team. Like we look like we have, get these players some looks in this new scheme. Get these players some and on offense we're set. I don't think we changed over that much in offense to where we had to get this person acclimated. But in defense, we have a lot of acclimation we got to do.
100%. I agree. The way that I think about like preseason games, because the NFL, it is a money grab from the NFL. We shouldn't really have to pay to go see them. But, it is a competition. We like to see our teams win. But, again, just like what you said, these preseason games are for the coaches to evaluate not only the player, how he's playing with other people, like the team as a whole, the cohesiveness, the everything. And that's what it is. But the good coaches will put their teams in different situations, right? Like, so they'll say, we're in the regular season, we would normally do this. So let's do this, right? Not in this situation.
They would normally punt or normally kick a field goal, but I want to see what it look like going on for it on fourth down. Let's do that.
Let's go for it. Let's throw our balls out there a little bit here and see what if we were to do something like this.
I would never punt and I would never kick field goals if I was I'm telling you, I'm dead serious. I would never do that. I would go for it unless I'm like on the 5-yard line, then I'd punt. But if I'm anywhere like on this side of the 30 or 40, I'm always going for it every single time. Like score doesn't matter.
I agree. There's nothing. You don't have anything to lose.
I'm not kicking field goals. Like you can get practice on field goals in practice. You don't have to practice field goals in the game unless you're working on your 2-minute offense and you want to see how they run out there and get it done in a game situation, something like that. Yeah, but just a regular 8 minutes left in the first quarter, I'm not kicking a field goal.
You also have to understand too. You're also playing a game where you're constantly thinking, I need to protect my players too because this doesn't mean anything. So do I really need to put them out here and risk this for going for it on 4th and 17 on a pass? Or just punt it. This is a practice. So you gotta weigh.
And be practical. You're right. If it's 4th and 17, you're gonna punt. If it's like 4th and 5, then I'm going for that every time. 4th and less than 7, I'm going for it every time.
So some of the things that I think that we really focused on the off season that we'll be seeing in camp was the big major overhaul. This was the first time that I can remember where we've taken a whole side of the ball and really overhauled it, not just player wise, because it was player wise too. Coaching, the whole coaching staff. There was only 2 or 3 coaches left. that stayed, and they were like scouts, and I mean some of the smaller guys, but a whole coaching staff overhaul on that side. Players, a lot of the players that we had on that defense were on 1-year contracts, though. Remember last year how many guys that we signed for like
they set it up like
we
that.
were like, wait a minute, we signed another 1-year contract. Got like 11 guys on 1 years. What are we gonna do next?
So
did it?
We didn't have to guess if people were going to get released because half the defense was already on. They were already free agents. We didn't have to release anybody. So it's like
I was surprised when
Bill Parcells
they
thing.
weren't cut.
Yeah. He was like, if I'm going to come in and make the food, I want to be able to buy the groceries. And so this is one of those things where they actually let him pick the groceries this time. So now that he had time to ruminate, think about it all summer long, how would you grade the whole overhaul on defense from coaching, DC, all the way down to the last defensive player? Give it an overall grade. We know some moves were complete A pluses, like the Downs pick. But how do you feel from top to bottom defensive side?
That's a good question, and I have kind of thought about this earlier. I think my letter grade on it, I'm going to give the Cowboys like a B+ on this. We did a really good overhaul, but I think so too. There just wasn't enough money to really do everything that we absolutely needed to. We're missing a linebacker, we're missing a quarterback. I think we really did a great job on our defensive line. Is underrated right now. The defensive line, I mean, we have stars, but the free agents that we picked up were like Jonathan Bullard is just an underrated free agent that we picked up that is at some point in the year we're going to go, oh my God, I can't believe I forgot that we had Bullard.
Yeah.
It's going to be, he's going to make a play. So I think the defensive line was really greatly revamped. Our defensive ends, we have some good pass rush with the draft and the free agents that we got. Cornerback's going to be really,
I think we're going to say that exactly what you said. I think we're going to say that about D. Winters. I'm like, oh man, that's the best pickup we had. Even though he was underrated, he's like a late off season trade. I think that's going to be the one where we're like, man, I'm glad we got that guy. Like he's saving us right now. Like that's my.
I think he's really him and Overshown are really the only two linebackers that are penciled in starters right now. The other guys are. We haven't really seen anything.
I could see Shamar James becoming one. I can see Shamar James becoming one, but he has a show.
I 100% believe in Shamar James. He led our team in tackles last year. He got thrown out there, but there's writers out there that are saying like they're worried that he might not even make the squad, and I'm like, hey, well, yeah, he's gonna make the squad. He has to make the squad, but with some of the moves that they're making, and we'll talk about some of the free agent moves that we think need to be made, if so, but we definitely.
If I had to give it a grade,
I hope we.
I would give it a. If I had to give it a grade, I would give it a B+. The only thing stopping me from giving it an A is I just felt that we should have gotten a top of the line D-line guy, like a surefire sack guy. We got a lot of guys who are good at both, like they're quality run stoppers, and they're all right pass rushers, or they're quality pass rushers, but they're all right run stoppers. So it's like I just wanted to get that one guy who could do both at a high level. Like not overpay, but try to I know we tried to get like the Max Crosby.
You wanted to splash like everybody else did.
I didn't want. I really didn't want to splash because I didn't want the guy that went to the Rams. What's his name? Myles Garrett. We just gonna have to give up too much to get that guy, and I didn't want to. I didn't want to do that.
That's the same thing with any of those guys. Any of those top tier DNs were asking for a lot. We just didn't have the. We didn't have DN money. We didn't have McDonald's money to do it.
I just didn't think that. Yeah, like I just don't think you need a all-pro defensive end to make it to the Super Bowl. I don't think you need one. If you have high quality guys, you can do it. So that's why I gave it a B+. I wouldn't be surprised if somebody said, "Oh, man, they had an A." I'm like, yeah, I can see an A. But if I had to give them, if I'm nitpicking, I think that was the one thing that I felt that they were, didn't go after. So they're really, really trusting in Christian Parker, which I'm believing in them. So yeah,
and they're trusting the rookies. I'm
really excited about Malachi Lawrence too. So that's my rookie. I'm gonna be watching the most.
I don't know if you saw that picture when they were in that rookie mini camp when he came outside with the shirt off.
And I was man, off the bus
guy doesn't look like a rookie at all. No, I don't.
He doesn't. He had some peanut butter in his first offseason. Normally, you get big off peanut butter in your second year is when people notice the difference between your rookie and second year. But he looks like he's already ready to go.
Oh yeah.
So the biggest offseason thing we did was tag Pickens, but did not sign him. The deadline's already gone. In case you hadn't been caught up, he has to play on the tag now, which he's gonna do. Like he hasn't given any inclination that he's upset. I'm gonna sit out games. It look like he's gonna be a go, which is good. And do you think they did right by tagging him?
I think that they protected the team, and they paid him a lot more than he's ever been paid. They're giving him. I don't think that when we signed him as a free agent, we said, "Hey, you have 6 months to prove us that that we didn't give him a timeline." I think we always knew that if we signed him, we were going to tag him. I think that's the whole reason probably why we did, was we knew that we could tag him one more year later, and it worked out. It couldn't. It might not have worked out last year, and then we were in a position where we can release him to trade or whatever. But it worked out, so we were able to tag him. I think we protected the team. We gave him what he needed, another opportunity. I think it worked out well for both parties. If he would have been traded, he would have had to prove himself to that team, and then he would have had money on top.
And then in a new offense, and all that. But so
it just
I like the move because in my eyes, in my professional, I'm the best scout in the world eyes, I think that he is a top tier wide receiver 2. Like if you list all the wide receiver 2s, I could put him as probably the best wide receiver 2. He can be a very good wide receiver 1, but he's not like the money he was wanting would be if you're like a clear cut wide receiver 1, which I don't think he is. He's not consistent enough to me in my eyes to where game after game where he's like, boom, I can take, you know what? Forget this. I'm going to take over this game. Now he can do that 1 game, 2 games, maybe 4 games a season, but to get the money he wanted, you to do that all the time. So that's why I was comfortable giving him that tag, because when he proved that he can do it for a short spurt. When CD was out, he was balling. He was going crazy. But then when CD came back, he wasn't doing it as much. It's like defenses figured out the 2 or 3 routes he could do. Like he has to expand that route tree for me to say, yes, give him CD Lamb type money. So I'm okay with the tag, but I'm also a player guy. So I understand why they hate the tag, why they want their money, the security, they're putting their bodies on the line. So I can see both sides, but I'm okay with the tag for him because, like you said, he hasn't proved that he's not a knucklehead long enough for me to give him a 3-year, $90 million contract or whatever he was looking for.
And he deserves it because he's a great player.
Yeah.
As a whole, like as a player, if you look at him on paper, you're like, oh, wow, he really deserves it. But he does need to prove it this year. But I was thinking about him being compared when you said that, like he's the best wide receiver 2 in the league. Yes, and it shows because CD is very successful with him on the field. If you think about they were interviewing Justin Jefferson, and he was like, you know what? He's like, I don't have those big gaudy numbers because I'm double and triple teamed all the time.
Yeah, he's the only one.
Yes, you are, because there's no fucking other people on your team.
Jordan Addison's okay, but he's not Pickens.
And defenses are not able to do that against Lamb or Pickens because of that. He brings value. It was a good move. I really enjoyed that. I'm glad that they did, and I'm looking forward to them extending him either in season or at the end of the year, and not dragging it out at the end of the year because
they can't extend him in season. Like once he passed that deadline, they can't negotiate till after the season. Yeah,
okay. But don't drag your feet afterwards because his agent is
exactly.
So you know that
the money gets.
I mean, it's almost like it's going to stab us on both ends because if he has a really good year, it's going to be expensive.
Ah, man.
If he doesn't have a really good 22,
year, it's like, do we want to sign him? But then if he has a season like he did last year, but even better, then we're like, damn, we got to sign him now. Like,
yeah, it's going to be like $37-38 million. It's going to be
that's why we have to win the Super Bowl. If we win the Super Bowl, then I'd feel all right letting him go to get somebody else.
Be happy.
But so now we only have like $5 million. What's one move?
We have exactly $5 million left over right now, and
so what's one move you would do?
I'd extend our D tackle. I'd extend Quentin Williams. Right now.
Yeah.
Did I say Quentin? I'd extend him and save us $15 million exactly, right? So we'd have $20 million.
Yep.
In the bank right now, not to buy a free agent right now, but throughout the season you're going to need something.
I would do it
I would definitely do that.
cuts, and right before the season, because I mean we all know it's a terrible thing, but it's the NFL. Somebody's going to get hurt in preseason. Somebody's going to get hurt in practice. It might not be season ending, but it might be one of those. Dang, now he's on PUP, so he's out for the first 4 games of the season, and we got to pick up somebody to cover it because that particular one's already, shorthanded. So we do need some money to pick up. And there's some quality free agents out there. Like I know you had a few names.
I'm going to joke about one. I mean, it could be, what happens in the middle of the season if, a receiver goes down and we have to shell out and maybe bring in Stephon Diggs and then have to shell out for his boyfriends and his girlfriends' hotels and everything. I mean, that's going to be expensive, right? So, but I think the free agent moves that I think are going to happen in camp right now, there's only a couple free agents that are available that I think that would make any sense for us. Until those moves are made, like you said, those cuts.
Who's realistic?
I think that we need to address the linebacker situation. I think we need to bring a vet in. I think we need to bring a vet linebacker in sooner than later. I don't want us to wait. I think we'll bring somebody in August. And there's Okereke is out there, Wagner's out there. I think there's like 2 or 3 other linebackers but they all don't really make a whole lot of sense. Okereke. He's going to be better in the passing game. He led the Giants in tackles on a really terrible defense.
Yeah.
He only had like 2 tackles for loss last year, but their defensive line was terrible. Okereke needs to be saved and put in a different situation. I think that he would be a great pickup. But my heart of hearts is hoping that something happens and we sign Bobby Wagner.
I want Bobby.
I know
Wagner. That's who I want.
I think I know he's long in the tooth. I think he's about 2 or 3 years. We should have signed him 2 or 3 years ago, but
he still had 100 tackles
last year, but he had like 127 tackles last year, something like that.
This is 14th straight season with 100 tackles. 14 straight seasons. Like he's stiff arming Father Time right in the face. Like I'm not done, man.
And think about it, the defensive tackles, that would be an upgrade for him, right? As a middle linebacker, that's really what you're looking for. Oh,
man. They would keep him clean, yeah.
And he probably won't come in until like maybe halfway through camp, in the middle of August. That's when I'm probably thinking somebody will get brought in. But then again, it might be a case of do we sign a free agent after the first week so their salary isn't guaranteed. Remember that stupid rule that the NFL pulls, or teams like the Cowboys which were notorious for being, zipping up our pockets until we have to. That's going to suck if we have to wait until then that happens, but it happens.
Yep.
But That's what I feel. I mean, what about you? What do you think? What any moves are going to happen that we need to do?
Man, you know what's crazy? I remember when last year when people lost their minds when we released Trevon Diggs. He's still a free agent. Mm-hmm. Nobody's picked him up. So maybe we knew something that everybody else didn't. But man, I kind of wanted us to get a Jadeveon Clowney, especially since that other guy, the one we picked up, got suspended for the first 3 games. The one that got in trouble in Oakland, and then like they're punishing him with us when he got in trouble in Oakland. But I wanted us to get, but before we even got him, I wanted us to get Jadeveon Clowney. So now that he's even gone for 3 games, I really want us to get Jadeveon Clowney. Like, it was a couple games where he was like the best player on the field for us last year. That's how bad our defense was. He was the best player on the field for us, a couple best defensive linemen, and I wouldn't mind picking him up.
No, you're absolutely right. I don't think he's going to be very expensive either.
Me neither.
The biggest thing is that we do need to make sure that if we don't extend Quinnen, that we only have a couple dollars to spend. We might not. I mean, there are going to be some cuts here and there for our
1 year, $2.5 million, whatever, with some bonuses or some incentives or whatever.
But if you think about it, he got paid $9 million last year, right? So what I was talking about, or what I've read and what I've seen, even Tom Downey was talking about it. I was watching this morning and said there's going to be some sort of situation where we sign him, give him a signing bonus of $6 million, pay him $3 million, and throw in those dead cap years later on. Give him that. Get him on the team for a year and let him show us what he can do and extend him later. If we need to.
Listen to this. He had 13 games. He had 12 tackles for loss. He had 8.5 sacks, 22 quarterback pressure. So a lot of people, whatever stock you put in, like the PFF grades, he was the 18th overall among 115 edge rushers. Like, just think about that. In the whole in the whole NFL, he was 18th overall according to Pro Football Focus. To me, that's pretty good to be along in the two. A mercenary. We need a defensive line mercenary right now, and I think he's perfect.
And obviously, and we're not bringing him in to like a Jim Schwartz defense where it's going to be like. I mean, he's going to come into a very energized young defense that might.
And he wants to be here. He said he wants to come back.
Exactly. Yeah. Did he? Sweet.
Yeah.
Like, we're talking Clowney still. We're still talking Clowney. I thought we were talking Wagner. Man. Okay.
No, I'm not talking.
Okay.
We definitely Wagner. I was talking about defensive line. Like, Wagner was like Wagner is definitely like, I would pick, like, if somebody had to pick one or the other, I'm picking Wagner, clear cut. But if we can get both, I'd definitely take both. Mm-hmm. Or if Wagner's gone, then Clowney's my number 2.
Think about it though. I mean, look at our roster. Look at the DNs. And not just the DNs, you have to look at the outside linebackers because we're going into 3-4. So we're looking at Zeriku that we drafted last year. We also drafted LT Overton, where we drafted Malachi. We have James. What's the name? What is the 53? The guy that had that. Oh, his name is the guy. What's his name?
James Houston. That's James Houston.
We got James Houston. I mean, he's got to get some snaps.
Gotcha.
So I mean, how much playing? I know we need to. Are we going to bring him an older DN back in? I mean, how much snaps is he going to be able to get? We need to be able to play Malachi. We have to play, and then. Jaishawn Barham and all the other defense and the outside linebackers that are going to be coming off the edge. I think LT Overton, that draft right there, I think that eliminated us bringing in a DN.
And we're not even talking about Maris Leofau.
Oh, Jesus. I mean, as much as he does his game, he looks awesome. Yeah, he really is.
He's the wild card. So we'll see, man. He's a missile. So with all these moves put together, we're all talking about we're in win now mode because like we've grown up with Dak 2016. I remember the magical season. I actually rewatched some of those games, man. You got to get NFL Plus. I had gotten an account for a while, and I went and I rewatched all. It used to be a website you can go and watch them all, but it got it got canceled, so I don't have it no more. But you can go back and watch all the NFL games. So I went and rewatched the 2016 season. Man, like I was all in my feelings. That season was so magical. Like it was so magical. But anyway,
I remember the feeling. I remember that feeling when Romo was hurt. I remember that feeling of when the camera
the season's over
on the camera went to Dak on the sideline, and I was like, I don't even really know this guy very well because I wasn't really looking into it because Romo was everything to me. I loved Romo.
Man.
And then that same feeling happened when that same feeling happened in 2020 when Dak when the Cowboys played the Giants and Dak went down and I saw his ankle. That same feeling happened to me that when I saw Romo go down, and I was like, oh no. But I'm so glad Dak was able to make it back to even being. I think he's an even better player.
He's even better.
Was back
he's
then.
Better. He lost weight. He's not. I'm telling you, if you watch that first season and watch how he throws the ball compared to now, it's night and day. He looks like a complete. He was very thick his rookie season. He's more lean. And he just looks like in command. His throwing motion is better. His balls are better. Like the way it comes out, the way he spins it.
Right
like
there.
It's just completely night and day. But man, I'm telling you, man. Hey,
I trust you. And Dak's my quarterback, bro. He's my quarterback.
But I'm like you. I remember. People don't understand how like destitute we were when Romo went down. Dak wasn't even supposed to be anywhere close to the field. It was Romo was the number one. Kellen Moore was number 2 quarterback. Jamil Showers was the number 3 quarterback. Dak was the number 4 project quarterback. So a whole long line of stuff had to happen. Romo got hurt. A couple weeks before Romo got hurt, Kellen Moore dislocated his ankle. So he was out for the foreseeable future. He wasn't even on there. So Jamil Showers went to number 2. He ended up getting hurt right before that Seahawks game. So it was only Romo and Dak. And that's why Romo ended up playing that game because they only had 2 quarterbacks on the roster, Dak and Romo. So Romo was going to play and then Dak was going to play.
Preseason game?
The very, very first preseason game against the Seahawks. And
that was the first
Romo
game
went
of that
to
year?
slide and he got folded up the first preseason game. And Romo wasn't even supposed to play. But Kellen Moore and Jamil Showers were hurt. So he had to play a little bit. And then Dak was going to come in and play the rest of the game. First drive, Romo gets folded up like an accordion, holding his back, and I'm talking about you can just hear the whole Dallas nation crying when Romo because we were ready. He finally got a running back in Zeke. Like we were like, man, we got a running back in Zeke. That was the Marco Murray. So we were ready, man. We were ready. The defense was good, and then it was so frustrating. But anyway, but now 10 years later, here we are. Do you think we should be? Like we should start drafting a replacement quarterback. What do you think?
I think this is this year and 27 are the 2 years that are going to be really good quarterbacks. So
I think so too. I think third or fourth round, we should get a quarterback this upcoming year. Even though I have zero problem starting Dak, and I think Dak can lead us to the Super Bowl. By the time the developmental quarterback, like third or fourth round or later, to develop as a third quarterback, to where in 2 or 3 years we have a viable. Now we can start asking the question: can we let that go? Because this guy's waiting in the wings. But I don't see that happening for at least 2 years.
Like playing, having a package or something. Not even like Dak's getting old in the tooth. We just need to be ready for if a Romo situation does happen.
And why I said that is exactly what happened. When Dak was drafted, they were hoping that maybe 2 years from now, Dak could be a good backup. That was the goal when they drafted Dak. Like he had no plans. They had no plans of Dak being a starter for at least 2 more years. That's exactly what happened. And he ended up starting in 1 game, not even half the season. The first game he could play in, he ended up becoming a starter. And that's
kind of got away from it though. We used to do that all the time. Cowboys used to draft quarterbacks all the time.
All the time.
Like the 4th and 5th rounds. We're always constantly having
Stephen
that third
McGee. I still remember that guy.
McGee.
Yeah.
I mean, they're a lot of them. It's just that now what we do is we don't draft them. We go and pick up some old, really cheap quarterback, like some guy that no other team wants, and we bring him to our team.
Like we
know. I mean, now we have Milton,
Stephen Howell, man. Like these are the quarterbacks we've drafted recently. Stephen McGee, Dak Prescott. Remember Mike White?
Yep.
And Ben Fettuccine. Ben Fettuccine.
Nooch. The Nooch?
Yeah.
But it was constantly
Stephen
happening.
McGee. Yeah. Because before Stephen McGee, we didn't draft hardly any quarterbacks. The two quarterbacks we drafted before Stephen McGee was in 2009. It was Stephen McGee, Dak Prescott, Mike White in 2018, and Ben DiNucci in 20. So every 2 years we were drafting a quarterback. Before those four guys, we drafted two quarterbacks, Quincy Carter and Isaiah Stanback, who didn't even play quarterback. He went straight to wide receiver. So really, we only drafted one quarterback from 2001 all the way up until
McGee is the one that gets me, because McGee was the one that Jerry, they all really liked him a lot.
They thought he was going to be a really good quarterback.
Even the Dak draft, we lucked the frick out. We lucked out.
Man, that was complete.
We should call Denver. We should call Denver and thank them every day that they drafted.
And Oakland.
Oh boy. What was that dude's name?
Paxton Lynch. Denver drafted Paxton Lynch. They sniped us.
Jerry loved it, bro.
Oh. Man, he wanted to move up, but Denver moved up and sniped him from us, and he ended up being a bust. And then Oakland, in the 4th round, Oakland sniped Christian Hackenberg from Penn State from us.
Oh, I thought it was hot. Yeah. I just remember. I thought
whatever the guy from Penn State.
Remember the guy from Michigan State too? We were going to draft the guy from Michigan State too, Connor. I mean, that was all.
Right. No, it was him. I'm sorry. It was him. Yeah. But I know you're talking about.
Hackenberg was a big motherfucker. I can't believe Hackenberg wasn't like a good NFL quarterback. I mean, he was the whole package. I mean, I know we're getting in the weeds here, but Jesus. Thank God for unanswered prayers.
Connor Cook, that's his name. I'm sorry.
Connor Cook.
Hackenberg did go in that draft to the Jets, but he went 51st overall. That was in the 2nd round. But
that's when they released Donald. That's when they released Darnold and drafted Hackenberg for him.
Connor Cook was drafted 100th overall by the Raiders, and they were like, "Damn it, we wanted him, so I guess we'll just take Dak." Yeah, Dak had the DUI. That's why he dropped to the 4th round as well.
He was also,
if you remember,
more of a running quarterback. He had a really good receiver. Wasn't it Mike Evans? It was not Mike Evans. It was somebody.
No, he had zero. He had 0 players on his team. Nobody on his team got drafted in the NFL. That's how good he was. I still remember that fact to this day.
I thought he had a good receiver. No,
nobody from that Mississippi State team was drafted that year. That's how good he was. He carried that team by himself.
What about the next year? I gotta see it. 2015, right? It was 2015.
Yeah.
2015 Mississippi State roster.
Football roster. Let's see. Like, I'm looking at these names. I don't know a single person.
Look at the receivers. Just look at the receiver. Look at his receivers. Just do me a favor, because I thought he had a good. He didn't have any good receivers at all.
None. They have one dude named Durant Wilson. They had a guy named Fred Brown, Donald Gray, Fred Ross.
Oh, Arius Williams. That was Arius Williams and Fred Ross were his
I'm telling you, Joe Morrow, Dedrick Thomas. Nobody. I'm telling you, this was the unbelievable stat from that team. Nobody from that team was drafted after Dak left. Like, nobody. He was playing with a bunch of nobodies. It was like LeBron James the first year he went to the finals. When he took like Eric Snow and Larry Hughes.
He did go to Mississippi State. I mean, they're not really an NFL.
Yeah, but he still beat he beat Alabama that year. He beat LSU that year, and like he took him to number one for a little bit before talent just took over, because the SEC was incredible. I mean, Tim Tebow was around that time, but I think he was. I can't remember. But anyway, he took them to number one for like 2 or 3 weeks before they started losing by the end of the season. But he was taking teams out, and it was incredible. But anyway, long story short, I'm glad we got Dak.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
let's go back to camp before we get too much in the weeds and nostalgic. So in camp, name a couple players you're just dying to see play, like not practice, but actually in the game play.
I am looking forward to the two guys that I'm really looking forward to. I mean, we talked about so many players. The two that I'm really excited about, Michael Trigg. I'm really excited to see what we have with him, because it could be that we have an absolute diamond in the rough. He was in a great deal of trouble in the NCAA. He just, he was ready to be an NFL player.
It was not because of skill he didn't get drafted. Let's put it that way.
He got in trouble. He was in trouble.
If you're thinking about, what's that guy who played tight end that played basketball and they thought he was going to be the next coming? I can't remember his name.
Not talking about Bennett. I know what you're talking about, though.
Yeah.
I know who you're talking
think about it.
But Michael Trigg is one, and then the next guy,
Rico Gathers.
Rico Gathers.
No, Gathers. Yeah, but that guy. But Trigg is an actual football player who just got in trouble and could be a big pickup for us.
I'm looking forward to, because I think the offense is open enough to be able to have a tight end that can stretch the field. And I mean, I love Ferg. Ferg is one of my favorite tight ends, but he's not the most athletic individual. And Trigg Trigg makes things look easy that shouldn't. You look at me, that was just ridiculous that human made that play.
Man.
So I'm looking forward to Trigg. I'm looking forward to Jaishawn Barham, because I'm looking forward to see from what I understand, Michigan really fucked up. Used the way that they used him last year. Yeah. So I cannot wait to see what Christian Parker does, right? And because it's not just Parker. We have a lot of really good defensive coaches on this squad. So whatever they use him for what I understand, that kid is a bully, and he's not somebody that you want to be sitting next to him in the locker room either, from what I understand. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do. What about you? We got two guys.
My two, number one is Jaydon Blue. I think he's ready to be at the doghouse. I think he's ready. Like his head is going to be screwed on straight. He was a big playmaker. Like he is like the Felix Jones that we need to be the lightning to Javonte Williams' thunder. And so I'm ready to see him get the big 32-yard run by 47-yard touchdown, exactly when we needed it from Jaydon Blue, kind of like what Malik Davis gave us, but times 4. Then my next guy is before the video leaked about 2-3 weeks ago of Revel turning his hips, doing all of, like, he looks a lot smoother than the footage. Like when they showed the footage last year, he was like, man, is this dude, can he even walk, let alone get out there and play in the NFL? Like he looked like a robot. Like I'm not a scout at all. You're the scout. You can look at players and tell, but even I could see he was stiff. He wasn't turning right. He wasn't moving good. I'm like, man, he looks like me playing basketball. Like I can't,
he
I can't do the stuff I used to. But I'm 44. Yeah.
You could tell it was just a little twinge of like maybe it wasn't hurting, but he just didn't trust it.
Yeah,
that's what it was. He didn't trust.
He didn't trust whatever. But that video that they showed a couple of weeks ago, that is night and day from last year. And so I was already excited to see about him before I saw that video. That took me from a 8.5 to all the way to 10 to what I want to see. So those are my two that I want to see.
That's good. Those are good.
I'm ready.
I like them.
In the
NFL, not only in the NFL, but everywhere, and whenever you play sports or anything that you do, there's a saying that iron sharpens iron. I think that, and you and I have both talked about this, I think that the defense caught up to the offense. The offense was amazing the last couple of years. Our defense sucked. And I think the defense, on paper, talent-wise, has caught up with the offense. So the matchups that I'm really looking forward to in this in camp, what is the biggest what is the matchup that you're actually looking forward to watching and learning about and writing about and telling everybody about?
The sexiest matchup, I think, is going to be who wins the backup quarterback position. Mm-hmm. So we got Sam Howell versus Joe Milton. Now, knock on wood, it's been an every other year thing with Dak. He will play a whole season, then get hurt. Then play a whole season, then get hurt. He played all of last season, didn't get hurt at all. So knock on wood, if you believe in that type of thing, this will be the season where he'll miss a game or 2 games or whatever. I think that Sam Howell's going to win. I would like to see Joe Milton win because of his dual ability. Like if he can learn how to pass, he'll be much better than Sam Howell. But Sam Howell understands offense based off of the offense we have with Pickens and Lamb and Ferg and maybe Blue coming out the backfield and Trigg. Sam Howell would be a better option for us. Not that he's a better player, but in our offense, he would be a better option than Joe Milton in my eyes. So I want to see him win, but I'm ready for that competition.
Well, I think it's more of a competition than Dak, Will Greer, and fucking Milton.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Like
those ones.
Will Greer is not going to start over those. Milton is still. He still has so many things that need to fall in place for him to even be ready to play. So
throwing 90 mile an hour 5-yard passes.
Howell played a whole season. And
he was a starter for a whole season, and almost made the Pro Bowl. Like he was really good in Washington. that 1 year he started. I had him in fantasy. That's how I know.
The matchup that I'm really looking forward to. We've already brought one of them up. The cornerback 2. We know Bland is penciled in to start. We know that.
Yep.
His talent, his contract even says so. But
as long as he's healthy.
The cornerback 2 is going to be either Shavon Revel, who has experience, but it's a new coaching staff, so the experience, just throw that shit out the window. Cobie Bryant. It's Cobie Bryant, right?
Cobie Durant.
Cobie Durant from the Rams. I know that he played a lot as in the slot nickel, but I think he's a boundary cornerback. A lot of what he did before last year was on the boundary. He is a really, really good athlete. I think that in different situations, I think that both of them are going to get playing time.
Yeah.
Because there's scenarios where we brought Downs in to be on the field. We're not going to see stretches where Downs is not on the field a lot. Yeah. Right? There's going to be times that he's going to need to come out, or and the matchup's not going to be right. But he's going to be in the slot. He's going to be in nickel. He's going to be playing safety. He's going to be on the field at some point. So we're going to need to get these guys rotated in. I think if we look at it with ceiling, Shavon Revel should be the guy that we're rooting for.
He should. He should be a clear-cut number 2, maybe even number 1 based off his skill level.
That's what our heart is telling us. But I'm telling you, bro, Durant is an animal, and he is a ball hawk, not just a what was that? Byron. What was our corner that could cover, but he never.
Oh, Byron Jones. Yeah.
Byron Jones. He's not Byron Jones. He's not going to cover the guy and never get any balls. He's a ball hawk and make plays. So I'm really looking forward to that. But there's also other cornerbacks that are getting thrown in the mix there. We have 2 or 3 other cornerbacks that should be Carson. Kalen Carson should be in the mix there.
Kalen Carson is my wild card. He is my wild card.
I'm rooting hard for him because there's no reason why we shouldn't make. But I mean, there's
they drafted Devin Moore.
Exactly. I was going to say Devin Moore is another guy that a lot of people, I mean, even him, I mean, the balls that he has to say, to be drafted in the, 5th round or whatever, when he was drafted, and be like, well, you guys just got the best cornerback in the draft. It could be that it could be a situation where it was Jaishawn Barham where he was being played in a weird situation or a weird defense. When he comes over at us, what if he connects? And what if he is really the big, tall-ass cornerback that we've been waiting for? I'm excited.
Yeah.
And his ceiling's wide open. So
I can see him taking a Richard Sherman type. Like when Richard Sherman was drafted, like in the 5th or 6th round, they had no idea he was Richard Sherman, but he turned into what Richard Sherman is. But I can see it. Our 3 cornerbacks being Durant Bland, Revel on the outside, and Cobie Bryant in the slot with Downs playing safety, and then picking up tight ends that come into that go onto the thing.
The problem that I have think about this, though. The problem that I have with that is we brought in Locke, which he has to play. He's a freaking amazing athlete. He proved to all of us that he has to play. But we also have not only Locke, who else do we have?
Malik Hooker.
Yeah, we spent a lot of money on Hooker. I don't know why.
We got Jalen Thompson. He's a starting strong
we know
safety.
Thompson's going to start. We know that he's going to start.
Yeah.
But
and Malik
Caleb
Hooker
Downs,
and PJ Locke.
That's what I'm saying. Is like that rotation there might fill up that slot cornerback or that nickel back. Whereas is Durant going to be sitting on the sideline being the second best cornerback because Bland is making more money, making more money than he is? That's fucking ridiculous to me, and it should be to everybody else. So I mean, I think just what you just said. I'm praying to the football gods that Parker just plays the 11 best players and not worry about and when Steven comes in, when Steven comes in and be like, hey, this guy's making more money, maybe like, hey, just close the door, just Denzel that door right in his face. You know what I mean?
Me no speak English, and just close the door.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I'm saying.
So we've been talking for a long time, so let's wrap something up. So let's go with this. Let's end on this. How much is the NFC East up for grabs this year? Is it wide open? Is it 2 teams? Is it 3 teams? Or all 4 teams are going to be in the mix? What do you think?
Well, we haven't seen the Giants play, but on paper they suck bad. They're wide receivers, they're cornerbacks, they're linebackers. If their quarterback,
they're exciting though,
they're screwed.
But I don't think they're a good team. Yeah.
The Eagles are they're challenged on both sides of the ball this year, and their coach is a fucking idiot. Yeah. You guys all saw that thing where he's using ChatGPT to send fucking emails to his players. Make it a little bit more aggressive.
Can we dumb this down for the players? Yeah.
He's like, ChatGPT. I know that I'm
small words.
He's like, I know I suck as a coach, but if I was a better coach, what would you say to your players? Like fucking ridiculous. But anyways, that's crazy. The Eagles are good on paper. I don't think that it was addition by subtraction with their players. I think they lost really good players and didn't replace them with better players. Could be, and they lost some really good guys. I think the Commanders are. I think it's going to be us and the Commanders. Unless their quarterback, because I know they lost their offensive coordinator, didn't they?
Yes, Kingsbury went somewhere.
Kingsbury went to be a coordinator somewhere else. But I just have a feeling like if the Commanders are not good on both sides of the ball, I think the NFC East is ours.
The Rams.
I think the NFC East is ours. What do you think? And I'm not being a homer. I'm looking straight on paper.
Yeah. So I'm always trying to shoot straight. Like last year, I didn't think we were the best team in the division last year. Even though I had high hopes. Like if we won a division, I would have been surprised, but I didn't think we were the best team last year.
We were really excited for our defensive coordinator, right? We didn't know. We didn't know where our defense was going to suck.
We didn't know. And so this year, I do think we're the best team in the division. I think that the Commanders are going to be better than the Eagles this year. So I think it's going to be us, Commanders, Eagles, and then Giants. I think the Giants just have too many holes. Like, they have exciting players. Dart is exciting. Scatterbo is exciting, but those two aren't enough to be like, oh, they're going to win 12 games. Like, no, they're not that good. Their defense is going to be better than their offense, and they have a good coach that's going to give them chances to win games that they should have lost, kind of thing. Like, they might win 1 or 2 games they should have lost because they have a seasoned coach to put them in the right place to win. But I still think that they'll be last in the division. So I was like Cowboys, Commanders, Eagles, Giants. And I think the top 3, all top 3 will be close. Like, I think they're all going to be anywhere from 7 to 10 wins, to where we're playing deep into the season, still trying to, like, we're not going to have first place wrapped up with 5 weeks to go. Like,
that's still the NFC East. It's still the NFC East. It's still, we still have to play Giants in New York in December, whenever we play them.
Exactly.
But I really think that we just did a really good job in this offseason to put us in a position to be successful this year and in the next couple of years. It is the window where we need to. This is Dak's window.
I think we're not as top heavy as we used to be. I think we have a much more balanced team than what we used to. Before, we used to lose one player and be like, man, what are we going to do? We're going to lose. But now I think we have much better backups and even serviceable third string, to where if somebody goes down, they can pick up and we don't lose much. And that's where I think we're at.
Let's wrap this up with, let me wrap this up with one question, because this is something that I want the chat to tell us. Answer this question for me, because this is something I'm really curious about. How much rope, not only the front office, because it's not just the front office, it's us as fans, because we just went through last year and the year before, we've been through 30 years of this bullshit. How much rope and how much patience do we have with this new defensive scheme and new defensive staff? Does it go to, like, are we 4 or 5 games into the season and we're 1-4 and teams are running all over us, and we didn't? Are we like, oh, it's going to be okay because we're learning it, or do we expect everybody to go in there and win now, right now? And what is the scenario there in your head?
So in my head, I think he has more rope than people realize, only because this offseason was different. Like Christian Parker, the defense. This offseason was different. Like, offense already proved themselves that they're prolific, so they have a lot of rope. Defense, because of Eberflus, they like, you know what, we got to try something different. So they gave him, like, the Bill Parcells thing. Hey, you're going to make the steak, go buy the groceries. They let him buy the groceries this time. Like with Eberflus, he kind of didn't get to pick his players. He had to just use whoever was here. So that was, but as a professional NFL coach, you still got to make it work. You still can't have the worst defense of all time or Cowboys history coming out with decent players. But Christian Parker got to pick his players, and he's getting a stud this time with Caleb down. Like, man, he's getting a blue chipper. He's not getting a Motsy type player. So I think he is set up for success. But even if he stumbles, he can rebound because he has the players to rebound to make it better. And they're going to give him a little bit of rope, because like this, they can't keep going. Well, you had one bad year, so we're going to get rid of you. They got to give people a chance to bounce back. But it's going to be easier for him because he only has up to go. Like, he cannot be any worse than we had last year. It's physically impossible to be worse than we were last year, unless we're playing with 7 players against their 11.
No, I absolutely agree. It is we're only looking up from here. It really is the simple fact that he's as young as the defense is too. I don't think that I can remember a Fangio defense that wasn't somewhat semi-successful and helped the offense out on any team that Fangio was coaching. And that's what he's bringing here.
It is.
So
imagine if we're like 18th overall in defense. That would be a massive upgrade. If we were 18th overall last year, we would have been in the playoffs. Like, we didn't even talk about a top 10 defense.
We would have taken. We would have won the East.
If we were 25th in defense, we would have made the playoffs, let alone 32nd. So if we're like in the 18 to 22 range, I would be over the moon because I know our offense is going to be in the top 12 at least. Top 12.
Man. Having the 30th ranked defense and us being like 2 games out of actually like being like the third.
Man, we almost made the playoffs with that defense.
We weren't going to make like the 6th seed. We were going if we just won 2. If we won the Cincinnati game and like won like the Redskins, the Commanders, if we would have just won 2 games, we would have been elevated, huge. But we wouldn't have been able to beat anybody in the playoffs anyway.
Yeah. We would have got killed in the playoffs. So I was kind of glad we didn't make the playoffs. I was secretly hoping we had tanked. But anyway, that's another story.
Yeah.
But anyway, so
we all wanted a better draft pick.
So in the chat, you guys let us know how much rope does Christian Parker have, and is it fair the amount of rope that you think he has? So let us know, and we'll talk about it next week when we come back. By the time we come back next week, they'll have one practice in the books. We'll have some tape we can look at, some reactions from John Machota and those other guys showing some clips of when they break down the 1, maybe 2 interceptions Dak throws, and they're like, "Oh, the sky's falling," or whatever happens. If Caleb Downs intercepts Dak one time, and they're going to be like, "Oh, he's the second coming of Ed Reed," or whatever. We'll have all those overreactions next week.
Make sure you guys checking it out too, because most of the time there's channels that will show the practices live too. So check it out.
Yeah,
you might find something. And if we do, we'll throw some links in there in our channel as well. Hopefully one of these years you and I will be doing this from camp, right?
Yeah, we'll be there, man. We'll have our cameras out there with the table set up.
Yeah.
Anyway, so lead us out, man. Let's get on
this has been a long one. This has been a long one, but I think it was deserved. It's been a couple weeks, and we had a lot on our minds. I'm excited. This is if we look back in a couple months at this recording, this was the beginning of the 2026 Dallas Cowboys. I don't want to be a bullshit homer and be like all the other fans that make fun of Cowboys fans and say this is our year. It was our off season. This was our off season. That's what I'm going to say.
Let's laid a solid foundation. We laid a solid foundation.
But I'm excited. I know you're hungry. Let's get you over to go spend some time with your family. Can't wait to see you guys next week. Hit us up in the chat. Love you guys.